before they're fired at villages in Lebanon. I think war produces terrible things. And so, you know, that doesn't tell me that Israeli children will always want to write messages with love from Israel on shells that are going to incinerate Lebanese children. I think it would be very, very surprising if Palestinian children felt anything but antipathy towards Israel, given the conditions they live under. So I think that, you know, if you begin to change the conditions, you might begin to see some of that rhetoric change. And I mean, let's just, you know, this point about, you know, the argument we're always given is that Israel is a safe haven for Jews. I don't think most Jews in Israel feel that it's a safe haven for them. I think that the Jews who feel safest are the ones who have second passports for the European Union or Canada or the United States. And what I think is if we dismantle this racist system, then it could be for the first time in our lifetimes a safe haven for Jews. My parents and many older Palestinians still have, there were always Jews in Palestine. That's what you have to think. Zionism tells a lot of lies. And one of them is that they revived Judaism in Palestine. There were always indigenous Jews in Palestine, in Tiberias and Safad in Jerusalem. They weren't Zionists. And they were there all throughout history. Nobody massacred them. Palestinians didn't massacre them then. The violence was a result of a conflict where a settler colonial movement came to Palestine with the stated aim of displacing and replacing the indigenous people. I think it would be very surprising if that didn't produce enormous violence and conflict. So that's what we have to begin to unravel, I think. I don't know if we have time for another question or if we're now cutting into... There was, I mean, I think there was one person who had his hand up, and then maybe that will be, was there someone on this side who I ignored? All right, so go ahead, make brief, I'll tell you what, each of you make a very brief question or statement and then I'll answer.
I just want to make a comment about
no, keep it very, look, it's better.
Actually, because it's important to realize that when we say a one-state solution, we're not necessarily meaning a one-state solution in the way you envisage. First, not long ago, 2 books came about, this is last week, by Jewish rabbis calling for the killing of non-Jews. These are one is called Hamelech HaTorah or something, kill non-Jews because we are the chosen people, everybody else. So do I take Judaism for that? No, if 2 crazy fanatic rabbis make these books, I don't judge. This is with regard to the fact that you said Palestinian kids saying go kill Jews. The second thing, Jews, as you mentioned, lived in Palestine way before Zionism came about, and you have to think about it that when a one-state solution is created, it's a Palestine, it's not an Israel, or as some people called it, Israel or something, you know, it's a Palestine.
That's one vision, for sure.
But no, it's not one vision. There is this BDS should culminate in actual initiative that seeks to address the problem by actually, you see, I wake up in the morning dreaming about Israel because I think about it so much. Is that you see, an actual reduction in the size of the state of Israel within the 1967 borders by 10% a year, disarming it. 2 million Jews are coming from Arab and Muslim countries. I admit them, and they speak Arabic like me. So they can go back or they can stay. And then the rest who wants to stay in Palestine, there will come maybe 1 million Jews go back to Russia or something. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say, a one-state solution does not necessarily mean Israel. It's a Palestine, that historic Palestine that is being.
Okay, thank you. I'll just take that as your contribution, and thank you for it. And the final question or comment, and
how much do you think this movement is about people empowerment, about the Palestinian empowerment? How much do you think of it should be about solidarity between the 2 people and all the people that live in the area?
Well, the various statements from the Boycott National Committee and the PACB, the Palestinian Campaign for the Academic Cultural Boycott of Israel, address the issue of you know, action with Israelis or Israeli institutions, and what does and doesn't violate the Palestinian BDS call. So one thing that has to be very clear is that BDS doesn't call for a boycott of Israelis as Israelis. On the contrary, there's tremendous space for solidarity between Palestinians and Israelis who are committed to upholding the principles of the BDS call and fighting the forms of injustice listed in the BDS call. What's not acceptable under the BDS call is actions which talk about, let's get together and present Palestinians and Israelis as being already at peace or being equals without an explicit agenda of fighting the injustices that are there. So I think some of those answers are in the BDS documents and the various articles that have been written. So I think there is scope for solidarity, but it should be carried out in a very principled way. We want Israelis to come aboard with this agenda. We want Israelis to see the benefits of equality and justice for everyone. And the more Israelis who are willing to come on those terms, on principled terms, I think the better.
How much of it is about Palestinian economy? I feel that the movement is great and it is like a wildfire. I'd like to see more Palestinians being empowered in this movement as well.
I think that it's about solidarity and empowerment. Palestinians certainly couldn't do it by themselves, so they need solidarity from as broad a base as possible. But it's very important that Palestinian voices are heard and are part of the movement, and I think it's crucial that the BDS movement has been initiated and led by Palestinians, and I think that that's something that should continue and broaden. And Palestinians are at a certain crisis point in that the national institutions have lost all credibility and legitimacy, and so there's a need to rebuild from the grassroots networks and ways that more Palestinians can have input. And the BDS movement is one of those avenues for Palestinians to be empowered. So I think the two go together. Thank you. I wish I could stay.